Alright, in this first video of JMP tutorial, I'm just going to show you how the JMP window is structured so you won't get lost in the UI. I'm going to go ahead and close this tip of the day. You can read it if you want. They do have some really nice tips in there and you can learn a lot from those tips. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and skip it. The first thing that you realize when you open the JMP software is that there are 4 panes on the home window. JMP can create different panes if you choose so, but this is the default setting, so I'm just going to go ahead with this, and then if you don't like this, you can definitely customize it. The really important ones are the recent files, window list, and the projects. The recent help, if you want, you can go ahead and close it. Recent files will show you your recently opened files, as the name suggests, and there's nothing really special about it. The window list pane will be the most useful to you in any work that you do in JMP. JMP likes to open a million windows. Every analysis that you do is in a different window. Every data table has its own window. Every graph has its own window. So it's going to open many windows based on the work that you're doing. Even the smallest type of work that you can do with JMP will probably open 10 to 15 windows. So this pane is extremely useful so that you don't lose track of what is open and what is where. Projects pane is useful if you have multiple projects going on. So if you're focusing on just one project, this won't be very useful to you. On the top here, you have the usual Windows menus. You can click on the file menu and, basically this has the open and save options here. Next up is the tables menu. This one has some interesting functionality that are really useful when you're dealing with a lot of data tables. Next up is the DOE menu. Here you can create different types of designs of experiments, as well as changing them, adding points to them, or just visualizing them. This is where you go for the design of experiments. Analyze menu is all about regression and fitting to your model. So you have the fit model, and there's different kinds of modeling types, multivariate methods, and things like that. This is where you go when you do the statistics and regression part of your work. Graph menu has many visualization options. So this is when you have your data tables loaded in and you want to visualize your data in different ways. This is where you go. Next up is the tools menu. And these tools have different functions based on what you're doing. So based on the window that you have open at that point, they will have different functions. And I'll show you how to use some of these tools in different contexts. So they will work a little bit differently when you're looking at a graph or a data table. So I'll show you how to use them in different contexts. And then you do have the usual sort of views and windows and help menus. Inside the view menu, you can open the log. This is kind of like when you do scripting with JMP and you use a print statement. This is where that print goes. So it's usually hidden away and you don't need it for most of the time. But if you're doing scripting, the log window is your friend. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it now because we're not ready to go into JMP scripting yet. We'll deal with that later. The final menu, the help menu, I want to talk about it a little bit. If something that I'm doing in the video and you don't understand it, you can always go to the help. This is basically just like any other software help. You can search for the topics and it is very good. So it's very useful. But I do want to show you that there are some books that come with JMP. You can really read these books, and these are PDF books. They're really long. I mean, they are books. The name is appropriate there. There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of statistics information, math, and technical details that I won't be able to cover in a video. If you're really interested in figuring out what the JMP software is doing to your data, these are the books that you want to read. There's also a scripting guide and some syntax reference here. It's not terribly good, but it is your best source. If you're stuck at scripting something and you don't know how one of these functions are working, this is where you go. And if you can't find it here, you do a web search. And if you can't find it there, then you just have to experiment and figure it out yourself. And finally, we have these toolbars right here. And these are basically shortcuts. So the distribution, we have seen it under the Analyze menu. So it's basically a shortcut there. Fit model. So this is the Analyze toolbar. You can switch between data tables here, or you can go back to your window list, and you can open and close and things like that in this other toolbar. So these are mainly shortcuts. If you're okay with going through the menus this way, they won't be very useful. So you can, if you want, you can close them and save some space on your window, on your screen. It's nice to keep them open. You can always go to some of these because you will find that you will use some of them very, very frequently. But that basically covers the UI. The next one will be about data tables. We're going to open some data table and look at how the data table window looks like.